Hello my dear students. Today I am going to start one of the important subject for civil engineer students as well as for the mechanical engineer students, that is strength of material. Strength of material. Okay, it is also called mechanics of structures also. Okay, it is also called mechanics of structure. Okay, first I will define what do you mean by strength of material. Okay, first I will define what do you mean by strength of material. Okay, before start this lecture, I will tell you one thing. We will study in depth. Okay, all the basics concepts will be cleared first. After that, we will go with the main topic. Okay, first I will define what do you mean by strength of material. Okay, first I will add the definition. The strength of material is a subject which deals with the behavior of solid objects. To solid object subject to stress and strain. What is the definition? The strength of material is a subject which deals with the behavior of solid objects subjected to stress and strain. Or we can define this one: the strength of material is its ability to withstand an applied load without fracture, or you can say analysis of internal forces. This is the definition of strength of material. Yes, what is the definition of strength of material? Strength of material is a subject which deals with the behavior of solid object subjected to stress and strain. Or we will study in this strength of material, we will study the internal stresses. Due to internal forces, what are the internal stresses are to be developed? That one we are going to study in this chapter. Okay, before so if you want to use any material, okay, if you want to use any kind of material, first you have to know the mechanical properties of those material, means nature of material. Okay, if you want to buy any mobile or any kind of material, what you will check? We will check all the properties of this one. Is camera is good or not? Okay, what about this is sound, audio, video? Okay, means all the features you will say. Only camera is good means you will purchase? No. Same thing, if you want to study any material, if you have to check all the mechanical properties, means all the properties should be studied. Okay, we will study one by one those properties. That is nature of material. Okay, what we will study in that one? That is mechanical properties. Means what do you mean mechanical properties? Means behavior of material under the action of forces. What do you mean mechanical properties? Means behavior of material under the action of forces. Okay, that is first one. We will one by one we will study. First one is what do you mean by strength? Can you define? Okay, before, if you want to study the strength of material subject, some of the basic term you should be know. Okay, first we'll deal with this one. What do you mean by strength? How will you define this strength? Okay, so how you can define strength means the property of material to resist the external loading without collapse. That is called strength. Is what is the definition? The property material resist the external load against breaking or collapse or rupture. That is called strength. Okay, and next second one is, that is hardness. How will check the hardness of any material? Say if I will give this one material, say this is the material, how will check the hardness? Directly by seeing this one you can tell this is this hard or not? No, it is not possible. Okay, first what I will do, I will scratch on this one. Okay, by checking this one, say there should not be any visible crack on this one, so I will say this is a hard material. Okay, if you by the nails, if you made that by wear and tear, I will check this is harder material. Okay, means how I can define this one, the resistance of material, to scratch or wear or penetration of its surface by harder body. Okay, so then only we can check this. Okay, so this is the thing how we can check the hardness of this one. First one is the strength, second one is hardness. Third property is, that is elasticity. Third property is the elasticity. What do you mean by elasticity? Okay, hardness test can be tested by, that is Brinell hardness test. Okay, Brinell hardness. Next one, Rockwell. Okay, these are tests that is to be checked for to check the hardness. Okay, next one is Brinell hardness test and Rockwell hardness test. Okay, next one is, that is elasticity. What do you mean by elasticity? The property of the material after removal of the load, it will regain its original shape. Then that type of material is called elastic material. Say this is the one material. Okay, so this is the one material. Say if you apply a force, so initial the length is how much? So you can take this length of this one is 100 mm. Okay, after applying the force, the length will be increases to maybe 105. Okay, you apply the force, the length will be increased to 105. After removal of the load, again it will gain to its original shape, that is 100 mm only. Then that type of material is called elastic material. Okay, this is the meaning of elastic material. Next one is, fourth one. What do you mean plasticity? What is the definition of plasticity? Means after removal of the load, it will not regain its original shape. Then that type of material is called plastic material. Okay, so this is the thing what you have to remember. Okay, next one is, that is fifth one, that is malleability. The definition for malleability is the property of the material by which it can convert into thin sheet. Okay, means when you apply the force on that one, okay, before failure it will convert into a thin sheet. Then beaten by hammers. The good example for this one is gold. Gold is the good example. Okay, so when you apply a force on the gold, first before failure it will convert into a thin sheet. After that it will fail. The good example for the malleability is gold. Another examples are, you can tell, aluminium, copper and tin. They are the example for the malleability. Next one is what do you mean by ductility? Okay, ductility means when you apply the load, okay, when you apply the force, it will convert into a thin sheet. Next, what is that is ductility. It will convert into a thin wire. Means before failure it will deform. It will deform. After that one it will fail. That is called ductility. Next one is seventh one is brittle material. What do you mean by brittle material? Brittle materials are those materials there will be sudden failure. Okay, ductile material, what happens? Say if you apply, say this is the load. Say if you apply the load, so this is the force. Okay, the diameter is maybe 10 mm. When you apply load, it will diameter will reduces. Finally, it will become a thin wire and it will fail. Whatever brittle material? Brittle material means if you apply the load, suddenly it will break. Suddenly it will break. Okay, then that sudden failure when happens, then that type of material is called brittle material. If there is a after application of the load, it will convert into a deformation that will be happens, and after deformation, if it fails, then that type of material is called ductile material. Okay, next one is tough material. That is called toughness. The means the how will define this one? The property of material. The property of material by which it can bend, twist and stretched under a high stress without any rupture. Means, say if any material if you take, if you apply, if you bend this one, if you stretch, if you twist, if it not fails, then that type of material you can say tough material. It means if you are bending, if you twist, if you bend, okay, and if you stretch, if it not fails, then that type of material is called tough material. So what are the tests for now to check the toughness? What are the tests we are going to check? That is I-Jod and Charpy test. Okay, these questions it will come in the examination. Remember this one for hardness, Brittle and Rockwell, Vickers. These are the tests, and for the toughness, I-Jod and Charpy test. Okay, next one is that is fatigue test. Okay, fatigue test means that is repeated load. You have to remember this one for the repeated load. Okay, when the material is subjected to a fluctuations. Or you can remember that is repeated load. Okay, then the material that is called fatigue strength. Next one is what is that is time, that is called creep. What do you mean creep? Creep is a plastic deformation. Plastic deformation due to applied load for long time. Okay, it is time dependent. Initially it will not happen. After long time, plastic deformation due to applied load for a long time. This is called creep. Next one is that is stiffness. Stiffness. Okay, what do you mean by stiffness? The property of material which enables to resist deformation. That is modulus of rigidity. Is measure of stiffness. Okay, how can so this is the definition for stiffness. Okay, so